is the big artery of the body, the aorta. So we can see the aorta now, notice on the right hand side. So we flip the organs over, the heart and lungs over to the left, and there's my aorta on the right. So now we come and we work towards the heart, and there we see the aortic arch, the curvature, and that aortic arch now, or on the aortic arch, are two arteries or two branches right there. Right there. Right? Now the first branch right there is the brachiocephalic branch or artery. Again, notice here now there's an artery and there's a vein. Okay? Then what we see is that my brachiocephalic artery will have three branches looping off of it, and here it's going to pull up aggressively like that so we can see the branches. 1, 2, 3. Now on the far left hand side right there, that branch is also this right here, which is the left carotid artery. And there we can actually see against the artery a branch of the vagus nerve right there. Right? The middle branch, or the center right there, 1, 2, number 2, is that one right there, and that is the right carotid artery. Notice, and the carotid arteries lie adjacent to the trachea, which runs between them. Right? Then the third branch right there is the right subclavian artery. So the three branches is a left and a right carotid artery and the right subclavian artery right there. Alright? Then folks, this left artery right here, or the second big one, is this long left subclavian artery running all the way there. There we can see more branches of the vagus nerve right there running down. Right? So that left subclavian artery, it loops around the first rib right there, and now it follows the same pathway as had the vein next to it. So there, and notice the vein is bigger, lumen size of the vein bigger than the lumen size of the artery. Yes? So in the chest cavity, we call it the subclavian artery and vein. In the armpit area, we call it again the axillary artery and vein. In the upper arm area, we call it again the brachial artery and vein. And what is not as clear, because arteries tend to be more deep than the veins, okay, there it is right there, is the crossing over from across the elbow joint is the radial artery and vein. Right? So notice same names people say. If I'm sticking a pin right next to that, or for example right there, if I'm asking for the pink one, I'm asking for the brachial artery. If it's in the blue, I'm asking for the brachial vein. So make sure on the exam you designate which is which. Right? So there was the vagus nerve right there, the branches of it. All of this weight right here, that is the brachial plexus that we talked about way back in bio 141. So all of that are the nerves of the brachial plexus. We are not going to separate out the musculocutaneous, the axillary, the ulnar, the median. We're also going to call that the brachial plexus. Right? A huge bundle of nerves right there. Yeah? Then, as we said, there's nothing else in the thoracic cavity other than the aorta, just running down right there. But then when it crosses the diaphragm, when the aorta crosses the diaphragm, then I look for two arteries. So the diaphragm is a point of reference for us to keep an eye on. Because once we cross the diaphragm, or pass the diaphragm, we then see the two arteries right there. The first one is the celiac artery. Right. So there's a celiac artery right there. It runs up, and then the celiac artery has three branches. The first branch runs under the stomach and it runs to the liver. There's my liver. And that first branch right there is called the hepatic artery toward the liver. The second artery right there runs into the stomach, and that is the gastric artery. Excuse me. And the third one ran all the way across right there. It's cut off right here, and it runs into the spleen, and that is called the splenic artery. Right? Because remember here we peeled, okay, I don't see an omentum here, so you guys pull the omentum off here as well. Right? So there's the spleen, which is on this side, but we're flipping it over right there. Right? Right? All right. The second one is the superior mesenteric artery. And as I said here, for our interest during the lab, we saw all of these threads right here. All of these cream threads right there. And those are all going to be nerves of the sympathetic nervous system. And there's my superior mesentery, and right there, ladies and gentlemen, is that sesame seed-like structure right there. And that is the celiac plexus. Remember, plexus forms the ganglion, the pre- and the post-ganglionic fibers, and there we can actually see a ganglion right there. And usually it's going to be between or in this vicinity of the celiac and the superior mesentery, right on the superior mesentery. So there's a superior mesentery running towards the small intestine, or the mesentery of the small intestine, which is all of that right there. Wow, this is really nice. There's a mesenteric lymph node right there. Remember I asked you guys to squeeze on the lymph node, so you can squeeze that, it breaks easily between your fingers, right? But all of this red are branches of that superior mesenteric artery right there, right there. You can see it like that, right? Oxygenated blood to all of my small intestine, or the duodenum mostly. Then, folks, which again is a really nice right here, is that brown blood vessel right there. And that brown blood vessel is always going to be brown. It's never going to be blue, because that is the hepatic portal vein running between the small intestine and the liver. Right? It's a vein, but it's blood, full of blood. Right? And it's carrying nutrients from the small intestine to the liver, glucose, amino acids. And here we can actually see all of this brown right here. All of the brown are branches of the hepatic portal vein. Right? And like I said, that's nice.
So it's going towards the liver?
Yes, running like that. Okay? And if we clean this area away right here, we'd see the hepatic vein that runs from the liver into the inferior vena cava. It's there, we just can't see it. Yeah? Right. Then we continue down. And there now we see the kidney, and there is the renal artery draining